And thank you kindly for joining us on the I Love CVille Show. We thoroughly enjoy connecting with you through the I Love CVille Network on a Wednesday afternoon in downtown Charlottesville, where our Market Street camera, and I think Judah could probably flick over to it, is in full effect right now. Local luminaries walk by the storefront and studio window and say hello to our viewer and listening audience. A lot to cover on today's program. A Board of Visitors meeting, Judah Wickower, as you weave us back into the shot. That could be pretty significant. This is the first Board of Visitors meeting since the pro-Palestine pepper spraying protest fiasco. Let's see if we can turn those into all P's. Pro-Palestine protest, pepper spraying. What's a synonym for fiasco that starts with a P?
Oh, man.
Viewers and listeners, let us know your thoughts. I'm going to do a little thesaurus.com on that. Brouhaha starts with a B. Fiasco, let's see. Screw up, failure, embarrassment, debacle. All those are applicable, but unfortunately do not start with a P. Anywho, Jim Ryan, his presidency, arguably the #1 job in education in the Commonwealth of Virginia. I'll straight up say it, the #1 job in the Commonwealth of Education, in the Commonwealth of Virginia when it comes to education. Who's got a job tied to education in the Commonwealth of Virginia that is better, more lucrative, more significant, more accolade, more clout than Jim Ryan's at UVA? I can't think of anyone. Personnel closed session. That's the topic of a closed session meeting tomorrow afternoon. Personnel. You would imagine, since this is the first meeting since the pro-Palestine protests, pepper spraying debacle, you got one for me, Judah?
I do not. Pickle?
I don't think Pickle could have. I don't think Pickle is significant enough to what we saw. Would you agree? I mean, Pickle's so far you have the best suggestion. Pickle.
I don't have any other P words for you.
I mean, you got 27 people arrested. All those 27 arrests, have they all been dropped?
I believe so. Although one of them, for whatever reason, despite not having as serious a charge as the woman that was charged with assaulting a police officer, was being kept off grounds until they relented.
Plight?
Plight, yeah.
Plight? This plight, is it significant enough? Pro-Palestine protest pepper spraying plight?
It'll work in a pinch.
How would you characterize the Board of Visitors as you put lower thirds on screen? It's a closed session with personnel as the agenda item. You have a Board of Visitors that is already disenchanted with Mr. Jim Ryan, President Jim Ryan. We do know that...
But are they all? I mean,
not all of them.
Would it be more significant if they waited for this closed-door meeting until after Youngkin had made his appointments for the next 4 years worth of Board of Visitor appointees?
Judah Wickower, you're on point today. Governor Glenn Youngkin's appointees will be done, what, later this month?
Yeah, sometime this month.
Sometime this month. His appointees will further change the dynamic and mood and mentality and landscape of the BOV.
Yeah, one has to assume that Razorblade Burt Ellis will be having some possibly amenable companions on the board.
I think he's already got some amenable companions.
I'm sure he has a few, but he's going to gain more.
The governor selected Paul Harris, Paul Manning, John, is it now, NAU, and Rachel Sheridan to the BOV in June of 2023. Appointments for this year are expected sometime this month, a 4-year term, each member, confirmed by the General Assembly, and can be reappointed for an additional 4 years. This board goes a long way in determining the University of Virginia. couple of questions I have here. The board has already shown in years past that they're willing to terminate presidents midterm. They did that to Teresa Sullivan. Mm-hmm. Jim Ryan, I believe, if memory serves correct, and maybe you can find this, Judah Wickower, under contract through 2028. Yep, that's confirmed by Sean Tubbs. Sean Tubbs, excellent reporting per usual with your Charlottesville Community Engagement Substack. Town Crier Productions, Info CVille, CVillepedia, all the brands that represent Sean Tubbs. Ryan is under contract with UVA through July of 2028. As he's highlighted, Teresa Sullivan was canned midterm in the summer of 2012 when she could not see eye to eye with the board. A coup was led by Helen Dragas of Virginia Beach, then the chairwoman of the board, who did not see eye to eye with Teresa Sullivan. Part of that friction was tied to Teresa Sullivan's willingness to digitize curriculum at UVA through Coursera. Sullivan wanted education done in classrooms by teachers with students in front of chalkboards or whiteboards, with students sitting in desks or lecture halls, where Dragas is like, dude, the future is the internet and cameras and teaching online, and Coursera is where we should go. I mean, Dragas looked like Nostradamus in a lot of ways. I understand why Teresa Sullivan wanted to keep it the traditional path. Yeah. Frankly speaking, what's probably best for Charlottesville long-term in its economy is the traditional path. If the university chooses to further go down the digitized curriculum route, what's the significance of UVA in Charlottesville? Is it as significant? Is it as deep? Is it as strongly tied?
Yeah. How is it different from like the Arizona ads you see on TV everywhere for
University of Phoenix?
Yeah.
Perfect example. And how is it different than Zoom and COVID, where now you have professionals working for DC, Manhattan, Baltimore law firms through an ISP in their basement, wearing their tighty whities, their BVDs, and their bathrobes while charging $7.95 an hour?
Yeah.
Perfect example. So obviously the lead news item of the day is what's going to happen in this closed session Board of Visitors meeting tomorrow, and how does it impact Jim Ryan? And if we're unpacking this question even further, we have to ask ourselves, how does it impact the city of Charlottesville and Albemarle County? President Ryan has made a commitment to being a better brother or sister to Albemarle County and the city of Charlottesville. A better family member, a more communicative, a more transparent, a more charitable, a more philanthropic, a more giving, a more considerate neighbor.
And do you think he has?
I'd say he has, more so than Castine and Teresa Sullivan. Castine and Teresa Sullivan were concerned about the UVA bubble. They weren't nearly as concerned about Albemarle County, the jurisdiction, and the city of Charlottesville, the jurisdiction. I think Ryan realizes, and he's realized this maybe because he can play the game that we call politics. He's realized this maybe because authentically and genuinely he has I think Jim Ryan has a lot of great tendencies. I think his university is unfortunately under his tenure over the last 24, 36 months, his influence is diminished. His brand equity has diminished. His control has diminished. And his leadership has been questioned.
Yeah.
We talk about the pro-Palestine pepper spray protest plight. What's a better brand for that? We're in the branding business.
Pickle.
The pro-Palestine.
Pro-Palestine pickle.
The pro-Palestine. Well, we got to get.
Yeah, I know.
Pepper spray in there.
Pepper spray and protest. And
pro-Palestine. Pepper spraying protest pickle. It's a mouthful. That with the murders of the 3 UVA football players and the shootings of 2 others.
Yeah. And now the $9 million settlement.
The $9 million payout, the failure to release the audit report. I mean, the cherry on top or some additional, whipped cream on the sundae could be the Ziana Bryant protest on Water Street.
Yeah.
With how a University of Virginia female student, her life was in a lot of ways significantly impacted by how that was handled.
Definitely.
So if you're tuning into the program, tomorrow afternoon, Board of Visitors in closed session with the subject personnel in a Board of Visitors that is now very discombobulated or very, how would you characterize their mood or mentality with the president? Lukewarm? Lukewarm?
I don't know.
Lacking confidence?
Perhaps.
Uncertain? Wary?
I don't know their individual...
But you're an intelligent guy. You read tea leaves and the writing on the wall. I would say it's not rock solid.
I mean, if they're smart, maybe they're seeing what I'm seeing, and that President Ryan is maybe a little sick and tired of...
Well, that's a follow-up question. Is he ready to leave?
Like I said, he's stated himself, if you're not happy... That seems to me kind of the kind of statement that you make when you're looking for an easy out.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's the easy out. I can't imagine he's hurting financially.
No.
Right?
Of course not. I mean, unless he's been, out hitting the...
Where are you going to go with this one? Hitting the what?
I was going to say hitting the poker tables.
Oh, the poker tables. There's a lot of ways you could have gone with that.
I suppose there are.
Poker tables, no, and I don't imagine that's the case with the president.
Yeah, I mean he's not paying a rent or mortgage.
Well, I mean he does have it, and I won't say where. He does have another house in Albemarle County that he owns.
Okay.
But to your point, he is living rent free in the president's mansion.
Yeah.
And making in total compensation well over $1 million. And I have no problem at all with people making that kind of money. He's the president of a university, the top university in the Commonwealth.
Yeah,
okay.
It's not as egregious as some of the CEOs.
Oh, you want to go down that path? You want to go down the path of obscene CEO compensation? And the fact that Hello Kitty is under the microscope for market manipulation as it applies to GameStop yet again?
Hello Kitty. Oh, that is hilarious.
You want to go down the path that some CEOs...
You want to talk about that?
Some CEOs at companies...
terrified, right?
Some CEOs at companies that are laying people off are being compensated more than the GDPs of some small countries.
They're probably getting paid more than almost all of their employees put together.
While the meme, maybe the face of memes, Hello Kitty, the man from the Reddit boards.
Roaring Kitty.
Oh, Roaring Kitty. Sorry, Hello Kitty is the clear backpacks that will be removed from Richmond Public Schools.
You know, the fact that they're investigating him just shows how terrified they are.
I think I would agree with some of that.
I mean, all he did was buy call contracts. How can you possibly twist that to make it look like he did something wrong?
Roaring Kitty.
Honest question.
Roaring Kitty's history, and this guy's, if you don't know, he's the guy from the Wall Street Bets Reddit boards. There's multiple documentaries and a fantastic movie that's either on HBO or Netflix about him. I would say some of the tactics he has utilized would be characterized as market manipulation.
Tactics? Such as? How many people...
Not the ones most current, but from past?
Dude, you watch people essentially...
They're not trading.
Tell people
Jim
what
Cramer's
to buy
not trading.
and sell.
Jim Cramer's not trading.
You don't have to be trading to manipulate the market.
Cramer's offering commentary on the news, on financial news. Roaring Kitty is utilizing a massive platform to move the needle when it comes to certain stocks and equities ones that he's investing in directly prior to the commentary he's providing on social media.
But there are a lot of people that provide
I get that. It's a fine
commentary.
line. It's a very fine line. I mean, we know that Kim Kardashian.
I mean, you know, Wall Street Bets before this all blew up was essentially a bunch of people showing their positions, right?
I do know that. I do know that.
And that's essentially all he's done.
Showing the positions is one thing. How Roaring Kitty is doing it is completely different than just showcasing some buy and sell slips. He's sitting in front of a camera, producing basically a show like this, and encouraging a massive following to buy or sell at a time that he had already done that or did the opposite.
I disagree.
It's a very fine line. This is a topic for a different show.
Sure.
It's a topic for a different show. Maybe we have a new show theme here. Topic for a different show, not the I Love CVille show, and certainly not when UVA Board of Visitors closed session is on screen as a lower third. I will give you this. As a free market guy, and as a guy who has a social media following, local, not macro or global like Roaring Kitties, I am all for the free exchange of ideas and allowing a marketplace or a social media following to decipher what I'm saying or what Roaring Kitty is saying as something to act on, something to not act on, something that is purely entertainment or an education, or something that can be ignored altogether. Okay? I get that. But when it's people's money and when it's taken crappy companies and making them, what is it, shoot to the moon? What's the phrase?
That sounds good.
Okay, shoot. Is that what he uses the phrase?
I don't know if I don't know. He's
forcing them.
His last videos were prior to the
100%
to the congressional hearing.
It's been a long time.
Yeah,
it's been a very long time since the pandemic, right?
Yeah,
think about that since the pandemic. But to your point, I agree with you. What's happening with his under the microscope is because of fear. They're like, oh my God, this guy's back again. It's fear.
It's not just that he's back, that they're afraid. You have to imagine that there are some people who have made some truly, truly horrendously stupid decisions. And this may be biting them, where it hurts.
Kevin Yancey, good afternoon to you as well. James Watson, welcome to the program. We're talking, Randy O'Neill, thank you for watching the show. We're talking about the Board of Visitors meeting, closed session tomorrow, where you got to imagine that Jim Ryan's job status and his future at the University of Virginia is going to be front and center. Philip Dow in Scottsville is saying it's time for Jim Ryan to go.
Does he give any reasons?
Great question, Philip Dow. That's a great question for you. Any reasons why you think he should go? The natural cause and effect question of this Board of Visitors meeting would be, what does that do to the city of Charlottesville and Albemarle County? Because currently, Charlottesville and Albemarle County have probably the best relationship I've seen with the University of Virginia in a very long time. There's a man walking by in a Yale shirt right there. That's a nod to Jim Ryan's alma mater. Did you catch the man walking in the Yale shirt?
I don't know if anybody would have seen the Yale shirt. I didn't see it.
The irony there. Ginny Hu watching the program, and she says, I'm not that far from you, and I would not call today gorgeous. Well, why is today not gorgeous?
I mean,
because the sun is behind a cloud?
It's overcast.
I mean, it's not horribly humid for June in Charlottesville.
It was when I was walking here this morning.
Okay, I stand corrected. All right.
You've been outside more recently than I have.
I mean, I'm a guy that hates the heat. I didn't find it terrible. Anyway, what's the next topic on the docket? Is it the Richmond Public Schools and the clear backpacks?
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, can you set the table with the who, what, when, where, why? Do you have that story in front of you?
I've got it pretty close. Let's see.
This is a crazy story here. And first, let me characterize this. Our son, my wife's watching here, our son, his backpack right now is a collection of superheroes on it. He's got he couldn't have, what are the two superhero regimes? It's Marvel and
DC. Okay,
this is way up your alley. This is not up my alley. Who are the Marvel superheroes?
I mean, without getting
the traditional ones, the most popular ones.
The Avengers are,
keep going.
The Avengers are Thor, Iron Man, Hulk, Captain America. I mean,
that's the ones he has on his backpack.
Kind of the big ones.
Who else are in this category on this team?
Then you got Spider-Man. He's not really affiliated with anyone.
Okay. He's got the Avengers on his backpack. Is that Marvel?
Yeah.
Okay. Who are the DC superheroes?
The big ones are Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Aquaman.
Okay. He's got the Avengers on his backpack. His buddies have Hello Kitty on their backpacks, Pokemons on their backpacks, Barbies on their backpacks.
I'm sure some of them have superheroes.
A lot of Spider-Mans on their backpacks, a lot of Supermans on their backpacks, a lot of UVA backpacks.
UVA?
Yeah, the V-Sabers on their backpacks that they use to...
Kids get UVA. Like, as a kid, I couldn't imagine asking for some university.
Dude, have you ever been to a college sporting event in your life?
Probably.
No, sincere
yeah,
question.
I have.
Which one?
I've been to a UVA baseball game.
Okay, I stand corrected. Would you characterize yourself as a sports fan?
No.
Okay. That's why. There's some kids that are sports fans, and this is the team that they're rooting for. I
mean, I for the longest time had a CSUN ball cap because I love the logo, but I couldn't see doing that when I was like 5-6 years old.
I for the longest time had a JanSport backpack. Did you have any JanSport backpacks?
Probably.
Or an LL Bean backpack with your initials on it. Parents, how many of your kids have an LL Bean backpack with your initials monogrammed on it?
I lived in Maine. I don't even think I had an LL Bean backpack.
Get ready.
That stuff's expensive.
Get ready, parents. Your Barbie, Hello Kitty, JanSport, LL Bean, Avengers backpacks. You're about to throw them in the trash if your kids go to Richmond. There goes Lloyd Stunk with a fresh haircut, carrying a campaign sign. Did we get him on?
No, we didn't get it.
Can we get him on the hallway camera over here, or is that asking too much? He's got a fresh cut, Lloyd Snook.
I mean, if you want to...
No, it's all right. It's all right. Oh, there he goes. Big fan of that, man. Read the who, what, when, where, why for the Richmond Public Schools. Listen to this, parents.
The Richmond School Board has adopted a clear backpack policy for elementary school students at a meeting on Monday night. They debated adding weapon detectors to the schools, but decided more research should be done to prove they were worth it because of a $4 million price tag. The Richmond Public School Administration believes it can provide clear backpacks to every RPS elementary school student for $60,000. That way, since they're going to force kids to have them, they're not going to...
It has to be that way.
They're not going to rely... They're not going to force everyone to buy their own backpack. The odd thing is that there was... I found in another article, there's a school security expert who's basically saying...
And you got the BOV... You got the lower thirds change, right?
RVA Public Schools force clear backpack
fantastic.
policy.
I apologize for interrupting you. Stephanie, I'll get to your comment. Bill McChesney, I'll get to your comment. Stephanie, our son is going to be similar way. Keep going, J-Dubs.
So the school security expert is essentially saying that while the idea of clear backpacks is commendable, it ultimately creates a false sense of security. And he's explained that he's done a demonstration where he's carried in a weapon that was a replica, and he could just walk right past everyone and say, oh, that's a T-shirt. Like, everybody's got their gym clothes in their backpack, and so he's basically saying that just because you have a clear backpack doesn't mean that every single object in it is going to be clearly identifiable.
You know what the biggest weapon I have is?
Do I want to know the answer to this?
You're such a sicko. You sicko.
I
was going to say my dirty gym clothes.
Well, that's pretty nasty.
My dirty gym clothes in my backpack, that would clear a hallway in a second. Forget a gun or some kind of weapon. You get Jerry's dirty gym clothes in his backpack, and it will clear a classroom or in a hallway as if someone was screaming active shooter.
I was going to say, is that...
You're a sicko. You went down
I was
a
going to
really...
say, is that considered a chemical weapon? So...
Put the RVA lower third on so people know what we're talking about. This is bananas. Forcing the kids to have clear backpacks in their public schools? And the follow-up question to this is this what the future is for Charlottesville City and Albemarle County public schools?
Well, so he goes on to say that metal detectors are the best way to prevent shootings in schools.
Obviously. Have I not been saying that? Obviously, they're the best. All right, go ahead.
And he says the new technology uses artificial intelligence and it's able to recognize guns through packaging, wooden, and even which includes wooden or plastic containers. Essentially, he's saying that your clear backpacks aren't going to do anything unless you open them up and search them, which you could do just as easily with a non-clear backpack.
This is the most ridiculous policy I have read since the last most ridiculous policy I read from the city of Charlottesville, which was probably yesterday. Richmond Public Schools are going to force their students to have clear backpacks. No more LLB monogram backpacks. No more Captain America, Avengers, Spider-Man, Superman, UVA, Virginia Tech, Pokemon, Hello Kitty, or Barbie backpacks, but clear backpacks. They're going to pay for them. Thank God they're trying to make it equitable in some kind of capacity with taxpayer dollars. And they're going to hope that this is going to eliminate crime in schools. You have an expert saying what we all know. The easiest way to keep guns off schools? Put a metal detector on the entrance and the exit that kids have to go through. So obvious. Another way to eliminate crime in schools? Have a school resource officer in the hallway. Charlottesville City says, no way, Jose. We're not going to do that. We'll wait till 2025 to reconsider it again, despite the superintendent of the schools, Dr. Gurley, trying to push them forward. Instead of addressing the problem. You know the people who have problems going through metal detectors? The people that are carrying weapons on their person. You know the people who do not have problems going through metal detectors? The people that don't have weapons on their person. You know the people who have problems with school resource officers? The people that are doing problematic behavior in schools.
And aren't worried about teachers stopping them.
Exactly. So instead of common sense, let's just force all students to have clear, crappy backpacks instead of representing their favorite superhero, their company, their family monogram, their favorite sports team, or their, what was yours? What was your backpack of? A logo you liked?
Oh, no, that was a baseball cap.
A JanSport backpack? How about just a JanSport? Stephanie Wells Rhodes says...
I don't think I ever had any... Go ahead.
She says all their kids, have been decked out in UVA gear since they were kids.
Well.
Same. Bill McChesney watching the program. Getting some photos on screen of our favorite viewers and listeners. Glenn Youngkin is pulling triggers at UVA. He may as well have been using the pepper spray.
Say that again?
He may as well have been using the pepper spray.
Youngkin?
Yeah. We said the day after the pro-Palestine pepper spraying protest pickle that Glenn Youngkin was the puppeteer behind the screen, and he had Chief Tim Longo, Jim Ryan, the Virginia police, state police, on strings, and he was dangling them around, orchestrating this pro-Palestine protest pepper spraying pickle.
It's really the only thing that makes sense.
Only thing that makes sense. So I said it from day one. On this talk show, we have the tape and the sound to prove it. The Monday after the protest, I said this. You gave me grief, said, no way, Jose. That's not what happened. And slowly you've turned and changed your mind.
Okay.
From day one. We are in a world where we choose to not address problems head on. We choose to address problems with like all these auxiliary solutions. You don't want guns in schools? Have a metal detector and a police officer. Not make backpacks clear. You're still going to have to look in them. What happens if there's a gun in a clear backpack and it's on the in between the books and someone's back or body?
Yeah.
You take a bunch of textbooks and you put it on the front of the clear backpack. And you put whatever you're trying to hide on the other side of the books and you have it protected with your back. Who's going to see what's in there? No one. Right?
Yeah.
You don't think students are going to figure that out? Oh, they can see what's on the outside of the clear backpack. But if I hide it between my jacket, you put my jacket in a backpack and you wrap it around the gun and you put it in a clear backpack. How is anyone going to see what's in the clear backpack if it's wrapped around a gun?
It's just my gym clothes.
It's just my gym clothes. It's just Jerry's boxer shorts. And what
I'm not
teachers
touching those.
Exactly. Exactly. What teacher's going to open up that backpack even though it's clear and say, "Good night. These are Jerry's sweaty boxer briefs."
If they're not knocked out by the odor.
Which they would be, I assure you. Just ask my wife. You were the one that went down the sicko when I said, "You know what the biggest weapon that I carry?" Sicko.
I mean, come on. You left yourself wide open for that.
I set you up on that one. Janice Boyce Trevelyan says her son is 40 years old and still has his LL Bean backpack. The LL Bean backpack is timeless.
Especially since, I don't know if this still works this way, but previously you could bring pretty much anything back to LL Bean. And
I think that's no longer the case. It used to be most known for the LL Bean boots. Like if the boots got banged up, you could just send them back to LL Bean and you get a new pair of boots mailed to you. But people were exploiting that. Of course they were.
How do you exploit it?
What do you mean how do you exploit it?
It's a feature, not
You buy a pair of boots, you wear them for 2 years, you slice them or cut them or you mess them up and send them back and say, "Give me a new pair of boots." Different than the woman going to McDonald's and saying, "My coffee's too hot."
No, that's totally different.
Dude, just because the coffee was scalding hot.
I don't know how you make the connection between those two when it was
you triggered over there.
When it was their actual I don't care about
faulty
the McDonald's
cup?
thing. No, I don't care about McDonald's thing, but but LL Bean, that was their actual policy. How do you take advantage?
It was part of their marketing campaign because people exploited it. There's always someone
exploited. I knew people that owned the same pair of shoes for like 15 years because they would just keep replacing them.
It's totally fine. It's a great marketing plan and it's a great policy when shoes are worn for 15 years before they're sent back. It's a fatal flaw when shoes are worn for 12 months or 18 months and sent back. There's a huge difference, and that's what was happening. When it's all said and done, people, humans, men and women, some of us are always going to be looking for the angle and the hustle.
That's true.
Some of us will always look for it. The clear backpack, the hustle, Janice Boyce Trevelyan, just put it in your lunchbox inside the clear backpack, the gun. Wrap it in Jerry's boxer briefs, the gun, in the clear backpack, and challenge anyone to look inside when it smells like butt.
Cut a gun shape in your book.
Like you see in the James Bond movie? That was funny. You're on point today. I like this, Judah. Kind of take the book, cut a gun shape in the U.S. history textbook, and put your 9mm in there and close it. Hey, I got a clear backpack. It's my textbook. I'm studying for Mr. Joyce's AP history exam.
Is anyone going to pull all your books out of your backpack?
No.
There's no way.
Nobody will. And that's why this is a
why
dumb...
Why is this book slightly heavier than it should be?
Exactly. And that's why this is a dumb policy. This is why it's a dumb policy. Instead of solving the problem with a metal detector and an SRO, they're doing this. And you know what? Who wants to bet? You want to bet $20 that Charlottesville City is going to consider something like this as well? Would you take that bet?
No, I wouldn't take that bet.
Of course you wouldn't take that bet because you're a smart man. You want to bet a bottle of brown juice over there that this is something that Charlottesville is going to consider?
Only if I'm on the side of it that says they are going to consider it.
No. I don't want to be on the side of it that they're not going to consider it. Oh, is LinkedIn connected over there?
When was the last time I checked?
What's that?
When was the last time I checked?
Okay.
Let's see.
We really want a better word than plight.
What?
Or pickle. Pickle just is such a disservice to what actually happened.
The fact that nobody's put a better word in the comments tells me that there isn't one.
I mean, it's tough. The P word's tough. All right. What's the next topic? Set the stage, my friend.
Oh, let's see. Albemarle County tax bills.
Oh, yeah. This is bananas. You want to set the stage?
They're wasting paper. I mean, not wasting paper. They're resending tax bills because there was an error. They put the entire year amount in the on the stub, not above in the actual body where it tells you, your this is the June amount, this is the December amount, but on the stub itself, apparently the mail that went out to people had the entire year's amount totaled,
which is a significant error.
Yeah, especially if somebody just blindly fills out a check for what's on the stub and sends it in. And as you made the point, ultimately it's not like you're.
No, but you're giving them an interest-free loan.
Yeah,
you're basically saying, here's my tax.
Mm-hmm.
All my taxes for my real estate in June for the rest of the year, as opposed to having that money, hundreds or thousands of dollars, some folks tens of thousands of dollars, some folks hundreds of thousands of dollars, and paying that money in December and investing it from June to December and trying to get a return. You're giving them an interest-free loan.
Yeah.
And it's just, mistakes happen. Mistakes with money are in a lot of ways the worst kind of mistakes. My dad's a CPA. He taught us growing up, making mistakes with money are some of the worst kind of mistakes you can make. When I was in the newspaper business, working at the Daily Progress, the mistake on the correction was a fireable offense. You could make a mistake with your newspaper article and what you wrote, and then you had to submit a correction. Mm-hmm. If the correction you submitted on your first mistake was also wrong, I've seen many people get fired for that. So those are the two types of mistakes, from my professional experience, you try to avoid. The mistakes with money and the mistake fixing a mistake.
Well, let's hope
Good God, if the second bill came out, that would be the worst mistake. A mistake with money and a mistake on a correction? If the second bill that came out also had a mistake?
Yeah. Nuts. If it happened. But still crazy nonetheless. And a lot of people were, I think, at the very least scratching their heads when they got the bills. And they're like, what is this? Why is it so high? Why are they combining the two? Some people, I think, realized that this has to be a mistake.
Philip Dow answers your question, Judah, about Jim Ryan and why he should go. He said the University of Virginia is entirely too liberal and the professors are teaching far left than any other school as reasons why Jim Ryan should go. That's from Philip Dow of Scottsville.
But I'm not saying I disagree, but
we could push back on that. There's Brian Haluska.
Oh, man.
Did you get him on the Market Street cam?
No. But how much control does President Ryan have?
There's the pushback
on the
curriculum and what's taught in classrooms,
and
especially with tenured professors
and the professors themselves.
Exactly.
I mean, show me any college in the U.S. that has any public college that has even almost an even number of politically right-leaning professors as politically left-leaning. I don't think that college exists.
I think that's fair pushback. And I think what we could clearly judge President Ryan on is the handling of the pro-Palestine, pepper spraying, protest, pickle. We can clearly hold President Ryan accountable on the UVA football shooting that led to 3 football players murdered and 2 others injured, especially with the fact that the alleged murderer was reported to having the gun well in advance of using it. Mm-hmm. We can hold President Ryan accountable for not releasing the report from that mass murder. we can hold President Ryan accountable when it came to the Diana Bryant Water Street purchase or protest, where Charlottesville activist Diana Bryant tried to ruin someone's life.
And not exonerating the woman after it was clearly shown that...
and not holding Diana Bryant accountable for making something up.
Yeah.
Those are reasons to hold President Ryan accountable. But tenured teachers trying to control what they teach students is not something that I would chalk up in the negative column for President Ryan.
Yeah.
Ginny Who has a couple of comments, her photo on screen. The clear backpack bag policies only work with the people who are going to follow the rules anyway. 100%. 100%. And she says this, how do you feel about the clear bag policy at sporting events? We bring the clear bags into Scott Stadium, but guess what? I have 4 or 5 airplane bottles of Maker's Mark on my belt, in between my shorts and my body and my belly. I got 4 airplane bottles tucked right there. Get in anytime. I don't put the 4 Maker's Mark airplane bottles in my wife's clear bag that they look at. I put them where they would have to touch essentially my junk. And they don't. And I get the airplane bottles in, and everybody else in Scott Stadium does as well. Take a look at Scott Stadium after a football game. Walk through the bleachers. How many airplane bottles of bourbon do you see? Hundreds, if not thousands. She also says this, Ginny Who. She's watching the program. I question that it was in error with Albemarle County. There is a strong possibility they printed them banking on the fact that some would not read closely and pay the total cost up front. That's a bit, I respect the comment. I thought that as well briefly, but that is a bit conspiratorial. Do you, I genuinely think in this scenario it was a mistake. I don't think it was a nefarious mistake.
I can't see the entire county as a political entity, as a deciding to. I could maybe see some individual, but for some individual to care enough about the money the county brings in to,
especially when it's not going to them,
something like that. Yeah,
it's not going to their bottom line.
I find it a little.
I think it was just. I think it was human error.
Yeah, or computing error. It could
maybe maybe computing error, which would then still be human error.
Yeah, somebody didn't catch it.
Because exactly.
Or somebody I don't know how the numbers get put into the individual pieces of mail that get printed, but somewhere somebody messed up the spreadsheet.
Spreadsheet.
Really? I mean,
what is this, Office Space?
How do you get A and B, and you're supposed to put A down on the stub, but instead you get C?
Give me the TPS reports.
Yeah.
Have you seen Office Space?
Of course.
The TPS reports.
Yeah. Could I get those TPS reports on my desk by... Yeah,
Judah, you're on point today.
I'm going to need to see those TPS reports.
Oh, very nicely done today, Judah McGuire. Oh, man. Last headline, my friend. What do we have? 1, 2 headlines?
Lumberg.
What's the headline?
Let's see. Oh, yeah. Rally or not? Marjorie Taylor Greene and McGuire.
This is a mess. This is a mess. First, if you're the John McGuire.
Mm-hmm.
John McGuire is running for Congress. He's a father. He's a Navy SEAL. He's a business owner. He's a candidate for the 5th District where he's challenging Bob Good.
Yeah.
Frankly speaking, I'm not a huge fan of Bob Good.
I wasn't either, and then I found out that that Trump wasn't endorsing him, and I was
Trump
like,
is not endorsing.
Well, maybe I need to take another look at Bob Good, and then Bob Good comes out to endorse Trump, and then gets and then has and then all of his signs. I've seen signs all over the place that say Good and Trump, and he's getting blowback from that. The Trump campaign is basically saying,
for Bob Good to win, Bob Good needs Trump's supporters to vote for him. Trump is not a huge fan of Bob Good. Trump did not voice or give his endorsement to Good.
Right.
Good knows, this is a political
Trump
science.
actually did give his endorsement to McGuire.
Good knows that he needs Trump's voters and supporters to vote for him to win.
Yeah.
That's why he's co-branding with Trump.
Oh, I know. And coming out in support of Trump, despite the fact that Trump doesn't return the favor.
The crazy situation in all this is Trump, in this scenario, has hedged yet again. He says no to Good, but still gets props from Good, who he said no to in the campaign material prior to Trump's election.
It's a nut house.
It's a nut house.
And then this whole
keep it going.
This rally with
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
How do you characterize her?
Problematic for anyone with a brain. And
explain why.
She's
bananas.
She's on Twitter, just saying what crazy stuff, and it's just nuts. And then they were going to do a rally here in
at Charlottesville.
I think they were going to show up at the city hall.
Initially, it was going to be in city. It was going to be on. Was it going to be right there in Court Square, or was it going to be at City Hall? They didn't tell anyone in Charlottesville.
Yeah.
They were calling it a rally.
People found out on Monday. They're like, "Wait a minute, they're coming where?"
Yeah.
And then when they were called to question
they were
about
doxxed.
it. No. And then when somebody called to say, "Hey, what's going on?" they found out, "Oh, we changed our mind. We're going to Albemarle County."
And then they also said, "We're not going to call it a rally because you can't have official rallies at voting stations."
Well, you can't even
though their literature had the word rally on it.
Whether or not you call it a rally, they can't do anything within I think you can't be able to hear like a
megaphone.
A megaphone if you're within 40 feet of the voting place,
right?
And you can hear the megaphone, then they're too close.
My favorite part of the story is the city of Charlottesville, its police department, it reached out to the McGuire campaign and said, "Hey, the scuttlebutt is you're going to be here.
Who are you bringing?
Who are you bringing? And is it Marjorie Taylor Greene? Do you want some kind of protection of some kind? She would be around you here? She's kind of divisive, and a lot of people don't like her in this very liberal town we call Charlottesville.
Right.
You probably want us around." Next thing you know, they try to move it to the Albemarle County, whatchamacallit.
Yeah.
This whole thing is the worst aspect of politics.
Mm.
Can you think of if you had to put a list together of the most divisive people in the country, you'd have Biden and Trump on there, no doubt.
Yeah, Biden and Trump. Definitely Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Marjorie Taylor Greene might be in the top 5.
Boebert. And then that woman that wrote a book about killing her dog.
You probably put Pelosi on that list.
Yeah.
Right? You have a guy who's trying to beat another guy in Bob Good. Another guy in Bob Good who is you may be able to characterize as a right radical. McGuire, who's a military veteran, a Navy SEAL, a business owner, already got some political chops. He's running for Congress now. He suggests bringing Marjorie Taylor Greene in the mix to a town that is the complete polar opposite of Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah.
AOC is on that list as well, Ginny Who says. I would agree with that. AOC is on that divisive list.
No doubt.
Well said, AO. That's true, Ginny Who. Make it make sense. Please make it make sense.
Moved from City Hall to a county polling location.
To the Albemarle County office building. I'm looking at the flyer. Early vote rally to save America is what's on the flyer. Join John McGuire and special guest Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene Wednesday, June 5th at 3:30 p.m. at the Albemarle County office building. This is going to be absolutely bananas.
Yeah, instead of...
There's there's a gas that is under the ground that emits through the sewers like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Have you seen the movie where the green ooze would come from the sewers and come from underground? And that green ooze would creep out, and Shredder and Splinter and Raphael and Michelangelo and Donatello and Leonardo would be seen lurking in the ooze, that green ooze, eating pizzas or doing some Shredder ninja moves. That's what's happening in Charlottesville. This green ooze is coming out of the sewer system and making everyone crazy.
I don't think it's just Charlottesville.
Turtle power. Who's your favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle? Mine's Raphael. I like that he's a little snarky. Got a little chip on his shoulder.
I don't know. I actually had the comics when I was a kid, and they were actively coming out. I don't know that I watched a whole lot of the movies.
Oh my goodness, they were fantastic.
Fantastic?
Fantastic. Really? I'm now reliving my childhood through the eyes of my our 6-year-old. Just fantastic. Give them a try. You like superhero stuff too. When those 4 turtles work in unison with the guidance and oversight of Splinter, Shredder has absolutely no chance. Absolutely no chance. It's the Wednesday edition of the I Love CVille Show. Any closing thoughts? Got a 3:30 rally in Albemarle County on the city-county line, basically, with Marjorie Taylor Greene in attendance. Mm-hmm. I was having this conversation with a friend yesterday.
They do not intend to erect a stage, make speeches, or stay for long.
I was having this conversation with a friend yesterday, and I said to her, we never lack content and fodder for this show. We do an hour without commercial break. No one else is doing an hour straight without commercial break. We never lack content or fodder. Some days we have more content and fodder than others, but we never lack fodder and content. Turtle power. Close us out here, Judah Wickower.
I mean, here's a quote from city spokesperson Afton Schneider. The McGuire campaign staffer was asked by Police Captain Tony Newberry, and they say, he explained that our offices are nearby, Tony Newberry, and they could be on standby if they needed anything. You know, if you've got some heavy hitting, at least one heavy hitting political figure coming to town, maybe you need some cops. The staffer told Captain Newberry that she would get back to him with the exact number of staff that would be in attendance, but we never heard back.
It's bananas. Let's try to beat Bob Good by bringing one of the most divisive people in America to Charlottesville and Albemarle County. Let's not tell anyone in Charlottesville and Albemarle County that works for Charlottesville and Albemarle County, let alone the police that's going to protect us. We're basically going behind enemy lines in Albemarle County and Charlottesville. We're going to try to do this without protection. We're going to call it a rally when we can't officially call it a rally within a polling center, within 40 feet or certain proximity of a voting center. We're going to break all the rules. We're going to bring one of the most divisive people there, and we're going to try to get somebody elected. And the person we're competing is supporting Trump, even though Trump hates his guts. It make sense. Wednesday edition of the I Love CVille Show. Judah Wickower, Jerry Miller. Thank you for joining us. So long, everybody.